it's time to get more complicated with what we're doing with your Android applications. So the last few lessons were pretty simple. We were able to end up with an application that you can actually run and interact with. This time, we'll go for something really more complex. If you're looking at my screen, what we'll do right now is create an application that asks for user input. In this case, we'll ask them to enter a quote or a phrase or a word, and we'll be able to save that word, okay, and then get it back from the application. So if you were wondering what we're going to do at its core, we'll be doing databases today. Now, doing databases, is much, much more complex than what we've seen so far. We won't have short lines of code, and we'd actually go deeper into the object-oriented aspects of Android applications. Now, if you look at what I have right now, and you can do this on your own setup, create a new project. You can give it any name you want. I named it Database Simple Example. When you create your new project, again, you'll have a couple of things created. Your main activity class. I named mine quotes main. Again, you can name it anything you want. If you want to keep the default name, you can do that. I also have one layout right now, and I called it main.xml. For the people who like details, you may have noticed that not only do I have a main activity class, I also have an extra Java class added to my project. So what is this? This will help us use all the database concepts that we know. Okay. This extra class allows us to make use of a database, save data, and get that data later on without bogging down our main activity with a lot of programming code. So we'll take a look at this one first. And we'll go back to the screen that you're seeing now for later. Okay, so first of all, when you're working with databases in Android, it's easy enough to implement your own database because all Android devices come with their own installation of SQLite. Is this the only way you can save data? There are actually about 3 ways you can make use of data in Android. Here, we focus specifically on exploiting the built-in SQLite database engine in every phone. So before we go to the class itself, a couple of concepts that you can note down. One, when you create databases in Android, they are locked to their particular application. So for those people paranoid about application security and accidentally leaking their data to other people, that doesn't happen with your Android applications. For this application, for example, any data that I create here can only be accessed by this particular application. So security has been thought of even before you started creating your app. So again, we're working with SQLite. Okay. This is the built-in database for Android applications. It's one of about 3 ways by which you can store data in your app. It proves to be the most flexible, and for most programmers, this is the closest to what they've done in other systems. So now we go to the class that actually makes use of it. So again, from your normal Android project, we have our main activity class. In my case, it's called quotes main. We'll go back to that later. Before we go to the main activity, we need to prepare items for our database helper class. In my case, I named it as dbadapter.java. Okay, literally, it's a database helper because it allows us to easily access all database functionality. And when we look at it, you'll notice that it has more code than we usually have in our examples. If you don't know how to add a class yet, it's simple enough. Go to your package. So I've selected my package right now. And I'll right-click on it and select New Java. Okay, so New Java class. You'll get a dialog box. I'll fill this up so you guys can see what I did before. And I'll put in the information DB adapter. And that's the only thing you'll need. Once you click on finish, you'll get a blank class, which will have, and I'll just delete my own code so you guys can see. So you'll have something similar to what I have right now. So when you add your new class, you have a blank Java class ready for use in whatever fashion you may want. I'll bring back my code and we'll look at this piece by piece. Okay, so what you'll see now is a DB adapter class. And why are we doing this? Again, because if we look at this, we have a lot of code written down. This takes care of all the various database operations that you can think of. Inserting data, adding new data, updating data, getting data from the database, and deleting data. It's a pretty involved process, and we don't want to bog down our main activity. And I'll bring up our main activity now. We don't want to add extra lines here that you don't really need. That's why you create an extra class. In this case, it's dbadapter.java. So we'll look at this piece by piece, and I trust that you guys will take care of typing everything in at your own pace. I'll switch my code window to full screen so it's easier to see. So we'll look at the start of DB adapter. You'll notice that the starting section of code has the following variable initializations. Okay, for those who like using databases, you'll notice that I've named not only the database, but also the possible columns for my table. Okay? With our first variables, you'll see that I named two constants, key row ID and key quote, with the text ID and quote. This represents the columns on my database table. Underscore ID is required by the SQLite engine. Any table that you create automatically must have a primary key field represented by the name underscore ID. The rest of your columns, you can name it whatever you want. In the case of our example, I'm naming that column as quote. So what we're doing here right now is defining the table that we'll use in our database. It's a table with two columns. The first one is the primary key column, named ID. And the second one is the quote column, which will eventually contain the phrases or words that our user will save in the application. We do it this way so that in the rest of our program, we can consistently name those columns. Now, if we look at the next line, we have a tag. This tag will be used later on to send messages to our debugger. So we can just check what's happening with the application. And then for the rest of the items, we have the name of the database and the name of the table. Okay, if we look at the variables we're defining here, if you're used to database programming, you'll quickly notice that we are naming our database. It's a pretty simple name. We're calling our database random. And we're also giving our database table a name. In this case, it's named TBL random quotes. Again, the reason why we're doing this, because if you want to, you can choose to type all of that yourself. It takes a lot of work to keep retyping the words random and TBL random quotes. Then you look at the name of the variable. Database name and database table isn't that short compared to those two. So why would we go through all of the trouble of doing stuff like this? For consistency. Because if you type long lines of code, you run a bigger risk of being inconsistent with the names you use. So it's a good programming practice to actually create constants and use that in your succeeding code. This is also good for code maintenance so that in case you decide to change any of the names, you don't have to change it in your other pieces of code. All you have to do is change it in this section, and you know automatically that it gets changed everywhere else because they refer to database name and database table instead of the actual names that we have for them. Okay, now if we look at that again, there's one final constant defined there. It's the database version. This is useful for Android applications because sometimes you might need to change the structure of your database, or sometimes there are just improvements that you create for your application. The version number here keeps track of the database, and this is the code that tells Android to upgrade or keep whatever data is there to your version. Okay, now we see a few other items being set up. We have the SQL creation string for our table. So this creates the area where our data will be saved. Again, any data that this application creates will be locked to that particular application. So there's no fear that other applications will make use of that data. We have a couple of other items being created here. Context, because our classes always need to know in which application they're currently running in. And then two private variables, one for DB helper and one for an SQLite database. Both items are already part of the Android package. And just to show you where that gets recognized, you'll notice in the import statements that I have that I'm importing the SQLite database, which is the database itself, and SQLite Open Helper, which is the class that allows us to manipulate the SQLite database. So moving further down this code, so again, our class is called DB Helper, or sorry, DB Adapter. It's class constructor. And for those who've done object-oriented programming before, your constructor, as we all know, is the very first function called when the class is instantiated. So the DB Adapter class, or the DB Adapter constructor, is there to help establish a new database helper. So we have our line here, DB helper, new database helper, context. It tells us that we're creating a new DB helper and that we're attaching it to our application. After that, we create a modified database helper class. So we define an inner class that makes use of the existing SQLite Open Helper class. And it will define a couple of features for our DB adapter, namely functions for creating the database and upgrading the database. So that's the use of the custom DB adapter class. If we move further down the code, we now see all the functions that will be needed for manipulating the database. So we see close, because any good database application remembers to close a DB after we've used it. We have the insert function, so we can save data to our database. Then if I move further down, I have the ability to get all of the entries or all the records in my table. And I have the ability to get a random quote from my database. Okay, so just from this simple example, you'll notice that creating a database app or an application that actually saves to the SQLite database is a bit involved and will require you to do a lot of work. Okay, but just like most things in object-oriented programming, once you create one, it's basically a repeat of the same process over and over again. One tip I can tell you is that if you successfully create one, keep the code so that you can copy and paste it later on if you come up to another assignment like this one. Okay, for those watching, don't worry. We'll provide the download link for the code here so that you can type it in yourself or you can copy and paste it on your own system so that you can run our example. Okay, you'll notice that I don't really highlight what code to type right now. You'll have your own source code so you can look at it at leisure on your own computer. So this completes our DB Adapter Java class. And again, this class is here to help us manipulate our database. This class also helps us to remove a ton of code from our main activity. Okay, so take the time to code this in, and we'll go next to our main activity class.